So tell me where you even came up with the idea for the show Underneath.
Yeah, so when you and I connected that first time at Easter at your dad's house, I was at the very beginning of a breakup of a relationship that I'd been in for 8 years, which you know all about
Is
at this
that
point.
is that why you were at Easter?
No, I was there the year before, but it was kind of a hard Easter for me because we were starting to drift and I could feel it. And he was out of town. He was at our home in California, and so it was like Amy was like, "You need to come to Easter again." So yeah. Um, so I didn't start writing it until the breakup happened, which was like in June officially. And I was in, let's see, this was 2019. I was in the fetal position for a good 6 months. I mean, yeah. Do you remember that? Were we close enough for you to remember that? Probably not.
I remember you were going through a really hard time,
Okay.
but I was unclear on the details. I mean, this isn't just somebody you were seeing for a few months.
No, it was an 8-year relationship, and we had a huge life, and I mean, 4 homes in different cities, and we worked together. Our families were, had become family unit. It was like we were a unit. And I never in a million years would have thought that we would ever, in fact, 6 months before we broke up, I remember a friend of mine said to me, "Do you think you and your partner will make it the long haul?" And I said to him without even a moment's hesitation, the apocalypse will happen before he and I ever break up. Like I remember just being like, "Oh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen."
You were really confident.
Yeah. And then it did. And it was like, rug. And it set me reeling. I mean, I literally didn't want to live anymore. I literally had moments where I was like, I don't know what I even have to look forward to for a life when this is all I've known for 8 years. And, during that period, my mom had passed away. I was raised by a single mom, no siblings to speak of that I was raised with. And so it was like she had passed away. He was all I had. He and his family, and then that was gone. And I thought, I'm not going to survive this, nor do I know that I want to, So got through kind of that 6 months grieving period of just like intense grieving. And then a friend of mine said to me, "Have you ever thought about channeling some of that sadness into something creative?" And I was like, I know I've heard of that before,
Had you ever spent a lot of time writing ever before?
I went to film production school. I have a film degree, and we did script writing there, and I really enjoyed it, but had never dove into it. I'd never divin into it. I'm sure that's correct. I've never divined into it in a deep way. So it was relatively new to me, and I hadn't been in college in 20 years. So
few years.
Few years, 3, 4, 20. So it had been a while. Anyway, I didn't feel like making music. I was a songwriter. I didn't feel like writing songs. It just wasn't in me. But I thought I like to write. And so I started just writing down thoughts initially. And then it sort of morphed into making it into a story with this character of Alex having gone through a breakup. And I thought, well, there's so many thoughts, but I mean, I was starting to see a lot of material on YouTube where there was gay shorts being done, short films being done, and some of them were decent, some of them not so great. And I thought, I wonder if this would be something that other people would be interested in seeing, because at one point or another we've all had our heart broken to one degree or another, and but we don't often see it in a gay relationship on film. So I thought, But that was kind of into the back of my mind. I never knew how this would ever be shot, or, I didn't have the means to do it. So I was just writing. And here's what's interesting. I feel like I'm talking your ear off, but here's what's interesting.
I love it.
Okay, is that I wrote the first 12 minutes of it, which is what is now out as part 1. And I started showing it to friends, and they were like, well, what happens next? And I said, well, nothing. It's a short film. Like, nothing happens next. And they were like, oh, no, no, no. It's like a cliffhanger. Now we got to know what happens next. And so I'd had so much fun writing it, and it had felt so kind of like cathartic for me that I was like, why don't I just keep going? So I kept writing, and I wrote to 30 minutes, which is a 30-minute short. And I sent it out to a few friends and said, what do you think? And they were like, well, now we're invested in the characters. You got to keep going. So I just kept writing, and 5-6 episodes later, now it's 175 pages, right? So, and obviously we just got finished shooting the first part of episode 2, which will be coming out at some point. But yeah, it was this cathartic experience that turned into something that, actually was shot, which is amazing.
Anymore.
Probably after about 6-7 months. Yeah. But I will be honest with you. I would love, like, the textbook answer would be, oh yes, writing helped me so much. I don't know what I would have been like had I not written. I'm nothing to compare it to, right? So I'm not sure. I can't believe that it didn't affect it somehow. Just getting that out, I think just getting stuff out. As you and I know, we do that with each other all the time, right? Just, can I vent?
Sure.
So, and we all know that. So I think getting it up and out and being able to take aspects of that relationship into this, it's not verbatim, it's not a autobiographical thing in every sense of the word, but there are a lot of, I think, specific nuances of that relationship that were unique that I was able to bring into this story in a way that I think sets it apart a little bit from other projects that I've seen in a similar vein.